can't tiptoe away. That's not how this works.
I could have if you didn't say anything.
You can't tiptoe away.
Hey, switch the laundry out.
All right, so here we go. It is we are live at 5:15. We're getting closer. Live at 5:15.
No coffee chat today. Tea time.
Is that what this is?
It's tea time.
We're doing tea time. No. I'm telling you now.
You have tea?
Tea time is never a thing I'm going to do.
You have tea, I have tea, it's tea time.
No, I'm drinking tea because it's Sunday, and Sunday is my tea day, but that's about it. Uh-oh, she's got an iPad. I'm very sorry. She has an iPad. 5:15. Chat. You got anything to talk about today?
Say a prayer to the technology gods that my grades stay in my spreadsheet.
That's what you have to talk about today.
That's what I have today. Because I
That's
spent
all
my
you have to-
whole entire
That's the most
morning
interesting thing you have to talk about
and most
today?
of the afternoon and putting this nonsense back in for the 7th time.
Well, so normally on Sunday, we will do the podcast normally in the morning, and then I spend the rest of the day editing, which is really just lining up audio and video for the rest of the day, and then publishing. But today we had just done our long, what did I call it?
I don't know, I haven't seen it
Fictional beast. I can't remember what I called it now. I called it something. It's
I'll go into the YouTube.
4-hour podcast about fictional beasts 2.
Fantastical Beasts?
Fantastic. Oh, I can't remember. I still can't remember. It was fantastic something on the YouTubes. Because we went and saw the film, and then we wanted to talk about it.
Fantastic film double cast.
Yeah, see? Fantastic film double cast. So we didn't really have a whole lot to talk about this morning because we had just done it yesterday evening. So I'm sitting here trying to figure out what could we talk about. And then my mother calls, and
You were really going at her today.
she asked if we had done the podcast yet. I said no, because kind of really didn't have a whole lot to talk about. And then she started telling me how she wants to potentially go somewhere or do something for her birthday. And
Okay.
I was saying, you kind of have to know what do you want to do to try to narrow down places in the world that you'd want to go. So what do you want to do? What kind of things do you want to do when you get there? What kind of things are you interested in? I was talking about like me and photography, and so this long conversation. So, since we have the gnome here, I was thinking maybe you could tell people about our process of deciding not only where to vacation and what we go through in order to vacation in a place, but also what we do. It's like, if they haven't listened to the podcast when we left China, what we do to move to another country. This idea of like, because you hear a lot of people say this, I want to go on vacation, but I don't know where I want to go. And see, for me, it's a far simpler question.
Where are we going and when am I leaving?
No, I'm just saying it's more like, have I been there before?
Then let's go.
No. Okay, then let's go there.
Yeah.
See, it's a very, very, very simple idea. But if you're a person who likes to do specific things, well, then you're going to have to narrow that list down a bit.
Yeah.
And I think that's where people get stuck in trying to narrow down options that they might have, so that then they can make a fairly, because nobody wants to waste their money or their time. That's the problem. See, with me, I don't care. It's not.
It's
I mean,
never
I
a
need
waste
the.
for us.
It's not right, because if I'm going somewhere new, it's new. It's a new place. I'm going to see hopefully new things, and then I'm going to see the place. And my biggest thing is photography, so I want to go and shoot the place. Okay, well, if I've never been there, I got a lot to shoot.
Yeah.
You know, that's my thing. So for me, it's super easy. If you start asking me where do you want to go in Michigan, I might give you a big middle finger because I don't want to go anywhere in Michigan.
Yeah, but there are some really beautiful places in Michigan,
and
there's some great places to shoot photographs.
And for me, they're quite boring.
Well, sure they are.
Just like if you tell me, hey, lad, why don't you go to China and shoot China? Fuck China. I did do that. I've already got those pictures. I don't really want to take any more of them because I know that when I go to China,
everything's the same.
it's now been homogenized since the Olympics, and now even temples don't have distinctiveness. They're not new. So no, thank you. All right. So for me, going to a place that I've been, for example, let's say we were going to plan a trip to Tuskegee's homecoming one year.
That'd be fun.
Now,
we've done it before.
I lived there for years.
Right.
I went to school there. This is not a kind of trip where you're like, oh, the place needs to be so interesting. It's like, no. This is going to be people.
Right.
This is all going to be people. This is going to be people.
Should we do
old
something
people, young
like that? I would then coordinate with your frat brothers and your sorors and plan things to do with them.
Yeah, but there's nothing really to do there. What you're doing is homecoming. Right. There is nothing else to do.
No, it's not like we're going to go out and go to some museum or an aquarium.
You're not going sightseeing in Tuskegee. Sorry.
I mean, you might,
no,
but it's going to take you, 20 minutes?
Absolutely, you are not going sightseeing in
you
Tuskegee.
You can see the campus?
No, I'm not, because I've done that.
But
that's
you have.
And the kids have, and you have.
And I
So
have.
Guess what? That's done now.
Right. I'm not saying that we would do that, but you could if you'd never been to Tuskegee before.
I'm talking about us. When we make these decisions, we are looking at kind of this in a holistic fashion.
All right, so
give the people some travel, some Gnome travel tips.
So
this is our new segment, Gnome travel tips. Not really.
If we are looking for a family vacation, there's a couple of things that have to be considered. First of all is the budget. Second of all is the time of the year.
Okay, you got to sit up.
I'm sitting up.
Keep going.
I'm sitting up. So the time of the year, the tourist, is it a high season or a low season for tourism? The housing, there's all these things, because you could get a really cheap flight, but then all the hotels are super expensive, and we don't do Airbnb, mostly because I've read some really horrible stories, and people I personally know have shared some really bad experiences, so it's not something I trust. I can't afford to go to a new country and,
you don't have to badmouth the thing that you never used.
I'm not saying that.
Who cares?
I'm badmouthing it. I'm
just saying
it's just not a choice that I make.
The cat just fell down the steps. That was funny. Keep going.
So those are the things that I take into consideration more than, I want to go here. So for example, if I know we're going to go in July because that's when we're off, I will go to a website like Skyscanner, and maybe I'll just put in my current location and go to anywhere and see what the cheapest flights are from where I am. And then we'll go and investigate. Do we want to go to this country? Do we want to go to that place?
Okay. Now, that's what I want to get to. The investigation part. Mm-hmm. Tell them about that.
So I'll say, hey guys, what do you think about going to this place? For example, Bali. And then I will say, 2, you go and find some things to do in this city in Bali or in this city or this part of Bali, and Keegan, you go find things to do over here, and I'll go search over here, and then we share the information. Usually I leave Aaron out of this part because this isn't fun for him. He doesn't like it. He just wants us to tell him where we're going, when we're going, and what he needs to pack. That's it. That's all he does.
In addition to my camera bag.
Well, the camera's a given. He could just take his bathing suit and his camera bag. Most of the time he'd be happy. So that's what we do. We'll go and see, what kind of activities there are to do, what the prices are of the hotels, how far away it is from the airport, how do you get from the airport to the hotel. Do the hotels offer free transport? Because some of them do. Do you have to take a boat to get to where you're wanting to go? It's just those types of things. And then I will make almost like a spreadsheet with all of the information.
You didn't want to say it, but you make a spreadsheet.
I kind of do. I make a spreadsheet with all of the costs to see if it then fits into our budget.
Exactly.
It has really nothing to do with the destination as much as the budget. Because no matter where we go, if we haven't been there before, we're going to learn something new. We're going to experience something new. We're going to have fun. One of the things that I don't do is I don't plan every second of our vacation. Because those who don't travel often and who haven't really traveled abroad don't understand jet lag. They also don't understand the time difference. So you could leave one country and, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and you arrive in the next place at 1 o'clock in the morning, and you've been up this whole entire time going from taxi to airplane to taxi to whatever, and you're really tired. And the next day, the kids don't want to do anything.
Yeah, you want to lounge.
You just want to chill out.
A lot of people go on vacation, and their vacation is more hectic than their regular life.
Right.
Which doesn't make sense to me because why would you schedule yourself to do that? It's like people are like, I want to see lots of things. It's like, okay, maybe you should plan to go back before you get there for the first time.
Right.
Because honestly, it's like when we went to Phuket. You want to do a couple things, see a little bit. We didn't go to the Big Buddha the first time we went there.
We could see it from the window, and I really wanted to go there.
Yeah, but
we didn't plan on doing that. That wasn't something on the agenda.
You gotta plan to play it by ear.
Yep.
If you do that, you're gonna be way happier, so that you can wake up in the morning. Some things you need to plan. Like if it's a tour and the tour is only certain days of the week.
Yeah.
And you really want to go there, okay, well then you got to plan that out. That makes perfect sense. But if you're going to be like, we're going to a place we've never been and there are these things available, take your time and look at it and shop it, and maybe you do want to go. Maybe you want to be impulsive and you're walking down the street and they've got a shop that we take people to this place. It's like,
cool, let's go.
Yeah, no, let's go. Why not? But then you're like, you don't have to go rushing and running because if you do that to yourself, you come back off a vacation with maybe you have some
cool stories,
okay pictures, and you went and saw some things, but you feel terrible. So if you're taking a vacation that's supposed to be a break from your 9 to 5 life, then you better plan in some sit by the freaking pool for a day time. Yeah. And that way you can and don't rush around doing stuff, because that's not really fun.
No.
A lot of people do it, but it's really not fun, and the memories that they have are really just their photos because they were in a whirlwind.
Yeah.
Everything is new. You can't process that much at one time. So I'm a big proponent of
chill out.
Let's do, like, we're going for 5 days. Let's plan out maybe 3 big things that we really want to do and allow for any other possibilities throughout that time.
Yeah.
If we're sitting there and we're like, you know what, we really want to go and do a thing, but we don't know what, now you can go do that thing and you feel refreshed and good about it.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh God, we have to go again. We don't have time. I'm tired. I don't feel like going, but
I've already
I'm
paid
here,
for it.
so I got to go, and you're all these obligations, and that's why I like cruises.
Well, and
Because you don't have to do any of that stuff.
one of the things I really suggest is never to plan anything the first full day of your vacation.
Especially
Unless you're gonna drive or
your trip
staying,
is short
right.
to get there.
Like for us flying from China to Thailand, it was only a 6-hour flight, but our flight was delayed. Our initial flight was delayed so long that we missed our connecting flight, which meant we had to miss our first full day in Thailand. We were still in China. And so I paid for an extra day of the hotel and my insurance didn't reimburse me. And if we would have planned something for that day, we wouldn't have gotten the money back for that either. So keep that stuff in mind that flights get delayed. You might miss your connecting flight.
Oh yeah, shit happens.
Shit happens for real. So, and I also recommend that you always have $5 or $10 on your Skype account, because you may not have cell phone service in the new place, but Wi-Fi is almost always a given, and you can make phone calls with Skype to a landline or to a cell phone if you have credit on your account.
Right. So then you just need to log on.
That's the only way I could get through from my Chinese number to Thailand to say, hey, we need the driver to come the next day. We need the hotel to keep our reservation because we missed our flight, blah, blah, blah. So always keep some money on your Skype account. If you don't have a Skype account, you should never travel without one. It's just...
Okay, so let's get back to the planning.
Okay, so planning, once I make the spreadsheet and it fits into the... It sounds silly, but you have to do it.
No, I'm laughing because you said spreadsheet. I always say make a spreadsheet.
It's more of a table.
It's more of a table. FYI, that's what a spreadsheet is.
It's more of a table in Word versus Excel because I'm not a fan of Excel.
Whatever.
Your light died, by the way. Yeah.
Keep talking.
I will, if it fits in the budget, then that's when I start booking things. A lot of times, if you book through some place like Expedia, Travelocity, Orbitz, you can get really great deals on the flights and hotels. Sometimes, if you look at places like Skyscanner, you're going to find the flights are dramatically cheaper. I don't know why they're so much cheaper, but for example, we're planning on sending the children to see my brother in December. And I looked on Travelocity and Expedia, and the flights were anywhere from $1,300 to $1,500 per person. But when I looked on Skyscanner, they were less than $500 per person. So I'm not really sure why they're different, but sometimes it's cheaper to go Skyscanner and Hotels.com, which I'm a huge fan of Hotels.com, because for every 10 nights you stay in a hotel, anytime in a year, you accumulate points, and when you get to the 10th one, you get a free night. And so it doesn't matter if you are actually staying in the hotel or if it's your spouse or your children or whatever. As long as you booked it, you get the credit. So that really is helpful, and it makes it easier to then take more trips. So I booked the rooms. Our children are not small children, and when we lived in Asia, we couldn't fit 4 people in a room, and most places in China won't book a room for 4 people. It's 2 adults and 1 child max. So our children have had their own hotel rooms for years. I think 7 and 9, we had a boys' room and a girls' room, but then the next time they had their own rooms, and they prefer it that way, and we do too, because then they can get up and stay up late, and they keep all their funk over there.
Funk is right.
Because sometimes after you go walking through the city for 4 or 5 hours, they get funky,
Teenage funk.
and they need their space.
Okay.
So
basically,
I book separate rooms. The only time in Asia that the children didn't have a separate room was when we went to Hong Kong Disney, because it was too expensive to do separate rooms, and their rooms were big enough for 4 people.
it was much more Western.
Even here in Mexico, the kids had their own room. So
And when we went to Thailand, we didn't have a choice.
no, their rooms were
We could-
so small.
Yeah, and we had all that luggage.
Right, we had 20 pieces of luggage, so we couldn't have 4 people and 20 pieces of luggage.
Which is
in one
something we'll
room.
never do again.
Yeah, this one was much easier.
Never do it again. My suggestion, if you're going to move from a place,
Ship that stuff.
move to another place, take your allotment, your normal allotment on the plane, whatever that happens to be, because they're all a little bit different. And then after that, ship it.
Ship it.
It's if you most likely you have clothes that are not in the season where you're moving. Ship it.
Yeah.
Do not carry it. Just it's so much easier.
And cheaper.
And the shipping companies usually do a better job. Now, if I get to the point where carrying my camera and stuff on my back gets to be like not a thing, like I can't really carry it, just have to start shipping that stuff just to go on vacation. Just part of the deal.
I will pay
Because when I get
for
my
extra luggage. I'll pay for extra luggage.
no, it's got to be shipped because it's got to be insured and all that good stuff.
I can insure it.
And it's got to have the
Never travel without travel insurance ever. Don't be a cheapskate. Pay the extra money. Get the insurance
especially for your tickets, because
for everything.
you could be in what is it called? Not customs.
Immigration.
You could be in immigration and miss your flight. So keep that
Never.
in mind.
I don't care if you're flying domestically or internationally, never ever skip the insurance. That extra $20 to $100 could save you a big issue. Also, what most people don't know is when you buy that insurance, if something happens to you, you get into an accident, you get hurt somehow, that insurance covers you as well.
Or can.
Well,
It's
most
not
of them
always.
do. Most of the time when you get travel insurance through the airlines, it covers illnesses and injuries up to a certain amount of time.
Because you're not going to have necessarily health insurance in that new place
Right.
that you're visiting.
And
People forget about the health insurance thing.
And some people...
Until that little fly gets in their head and the thing
lot
starts
fly.
growing.
Or they're on the motor scooter in Thailand and thinking they can ride a scooter, and they get into an accident because that happens like 1,000 times a day.
Uh-oh.
Grover?
We have a giant cat checking out our dead cat.
Grover.
So anyway.
So always get insurance. Don't skimp. That's part of the budget. Always part of the budget.
Always. Any other tips and tricks that people need to know about in order to plan their trip? It's the planning that was the focus this morning or today.
When
This
you're
idea of planning.
looking at accommodations, try to get places that have. I always book with free breakfast because it saves you a lot of money.
Rarely is it vegan.
Almost never. Always get the free breakfast. Always make sure Wi-Fi is included and you're not paying for it because some places make you pay. Try to find rooms that have refrigerators tea kettles or some sort of thing. It'll tell you specifically what is in every room if you go into the more details. The more amenities you have in the room, the more money you're going to save outside of the hotel. Because if you're gone for 5 or 6 days, you're not going to want to eat out every time. It gets expensive.
Some people might.
Well, it gets expensive, but it also, you might just not want to. I mean, you just want to chill out and sit by the pool. And so if you can pick up some fruit and some snacks on your way back to the hotel and have them in your room, it makes life easier.
Or if you want to take away your dinner from
Right.
last night and eat it in the morning or eat it for lunch or something, you got to have those, at least a refrigerator that works. You got to have that in your room. I mean, in Thailand we were in it was essentially an apartment that
The
we
first
were
one,
in.
yeah.
Right, the first time, the visit, the vacation.
I thought it.
That was
Shui Bing.
well, it was an apartment. It was a 2-bedroom.
2 full baths, 4 balconies,
Right.
fully furnished. It slept 10.
Full kitchen, dining room,
Living room.
with all of the stuff to use in that place. So it was like
The only
an
thing
apartment.
it didn't have was a washer.
Right.
It didn't
Didn't
have
have
that.
a washer dryer.
However, and it had a cleaning service. Like, you could just call down to the desk and they'd send somebody up to sweep the sand from your apartment. Look for suites. Sometimes you can get a really good deal on suites. When we went to Phuket
These
first
are the kind
time,
you eat, right?
no, not that kind, dude. When we went to Phuket the first time, I thought I just got like a 2-bedroom hotel room, like because sometimes they have like a living space with a pull-out bed and then another full bed. And our children were pretty young, so I was like, oh, they could sleep in the other room. When we got there, I was shocked that it was a full-service apartment. That was a pretty nice surprise.
In a hotel.
Well,
It was a
it was
like a long-term stay kind of
Yeah,
hotel.
yeah.
'Cause the people that were around us, they had been there for a while. So.
and there was a pool at the place, and we were across the street from the ocean, or the sea, not the ocean.
Thank you.
Sorry. So when you're booking, check to see what the landmarks are around you. The things that you know that you want to do. You want to go and see this. You want to go and try that. You want to go hike the waterfalls. You want to book your hotel as close to those things as you possibly can, even if they're 30 or 40 minutes away from the airport, because it'll be easier on your pocketbook later, because you won't be paying for taxis or some sort of transportation to go from place to place. Sometimes the tours will actually pick you up at your hotel for free and take you back. So look for things like that. It's more it's friendlier that way than you trying to figure out how to book transportation to this place and you don't speak the language. Because you may go somewhere where you don't speak the language and they don't speak English. Now, Phuket is not one of those places, but we've been in plenty of places where they didn't speak our language. And it didn't stop us from exploring and having a great time. So, that's the kind of stuff I do when I plan. And then we start, once we've booked the flights and we've booked the hotel, I send all of the information to every person's email. I send a copy of the information to Aaron's mother.
Okay, but why? Why are you
So,
doing this? What is the point?
When we get to the airport, if for some reason I don't have a paper that I need, every single person has their device and they can pull up the email and everybody has the same information. So there's no question. There's no worry about missing it. Always, always, always print out your receipts. If you book something on the hotels.com or whatever your receipt is for your flight, print it have a copy and have your partner, your spouse, whomever, another person in your travel party with a copy. Because we've had friends that have gone places and they've paid, and everything's paid in advance, and they get there and the hotel has no record of it and they didn't have a copy of the receipt, and now they have to pay again. So always have a copy of your receipt. It just makes good sense.
Okay. Okay, so how do we choose where we're gonna go? What kind of things do we want to see or do in these places? Because my idea is, honestly, you're gonna do the same things everywhere you go.
Yeah.
So
I want to taste new food. I want to see new animals. I want to go see some landmarks.
cultural things.
Cultural things. That's what I want to do.
I mean, there's outside of that.
That's it.
It's food, culture. You're gonna hear the language.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna be able to speak it necessarily if you're going to someplace new.
Or
And
even if you're going from the north of the U.S. to the south of the U.S., you may not speak the language.
it could be. So I mean, it's. I guess it's this idea that people, it's like, oh, I got to figure out.
No.
It's like, no, you just.
You make a list of the
Where do
places
you
you
wanna
want to
go?
go, and then
What
which
do you
ones.
want to do?
Right. Well, I don't even do the what do you want to do?
Well, I do because I'm not hiking.
No.
Well, see, so
No.
if
I work with
if
a
this
team.
if
No.
this thing is gonna mean that I've got to hike,
Right, like I really,
few
really,
hours, then I'm
really
not gonna
want to
do
go to Chichen Itza, and I want to go to the pyramids that aren't too far away from here. I can't walk the pyramid,
no, you don't walk a pyramid though.
but I can't climb the pyramid.
No, you can't. You're not gonna climb anything. You're gonna be down at the bottom waving.
I'm gonna wave while you guys are at the top, and I'm gonna be sad because of my broken body couldn't make it to the top.
Yeah, well, you could. Oh, you could crawl.
No, I've been through those Chinese caves, and that's enough. I'm good.
Yeah, you can crawl. It's all
So
good.
I don't look at necessarily what do I want to do when I get there. I look at first, I make a list of the places I want to go. Then I look at how much the flights are. Can we afford the flights as well as anything else we want to do? If the answer is no, that place gets checked off the list. It gets moved to the bottom. We'll try it again next time. That's how I find a place is, can we afford to go? Are we going to struggle once we get there to have fun because we're too, short on cash? That's not going to be a fun vacation.
Right.
So that's how I make the choice. Really, it's all about the money. And then once we've chosen, then we say, okay, this is where we want to go. This is how much we can afford. What do we want to do while we're there? And that's when you start looking at what is there to do and where should we stay and what, that's close to what we want to do and that kind of stuff.
Go to the show.
Yeah, we
Go
went
see
to
this thing.
Yep, we've gone to see gibbons and we've seen elephants and we've done all kinds of cool stuff, but
It wasn't that cool.
whatever, the show was cool.
Which show?
The fantasy, that was cool.
Okay.
The dinner was pretty good until I threw up everything I ate.
But I mean, I guess the other side of going any place that's new, you just kind of have to view it as the whole trip is the adventure.
Yeah.
Because so many people don't look at the airport and the flying and the taxi ride and this and that. Those are especially Americans, because for us that's just the means to get there. We don't really see those as part of the trip.
I've been in some really cool airports.
Right, and then you have the stuff that happens. It's like I'm always kind of cataloging in my head what we went through when we were at the airport and what the person did or didn't do. Was it easy? Was it not easy? I've traveled, when we traveled inside of China, it was quite easy to travel
yeah.
inside of China. You don't even have a ticket. You just walk in with your passport and you like here, and then they start pulling stuff up and give you your stuff, and you walk away, and they
check
tell you
your
what.
luggage and off you
yeah,
go.
you're gone. But traveling internationally around China, oh, that can be a pain in the ass.
Yep.
And they try to gouge you and try to get some more money out of you.
Like
and
if you're
tell you
leaving
all
the
of your
country,
stuff is too heavy and all this. Yeah, it's a totally different kind of thing.
right?
So I guess it's just the whole. But from the time you leave your house, that is your vacation.
Yeah.
Essentially, that's
Take some time, have a drink at the airport.
Right, that's because you're on vacation. That's it.
If
you're
the
doing
kids
it.
want, Starbucks, get them a Starbucks. Just do it. You're on vacation. Chill out. Take a deep breath.
But see, we see the transport part as not part of the vacation. We see the transport part as this is what I have to do to get there, and it's almost a lot of times it feels like a very large inconvenience of going to the airport hours before your flight and going through security and
50 times.
Going through immigration, which depending on the country, ain't no telling what might happen in immigration.
We had an experience in Hong Kong when we were going the first time. The kids had just gotten new passports, and when we picked up the passports from the embassy, the U.S. Embassy, they said, "Do not travel with the old passports. Leave them at home. You don't need them. Everything is all set in the new passport. You're fine." Okay, great. So we get to the Hong Kong border. Aaron, I don't know why this happened this time because it's never happened before, but Aaron went through first, and then the kids and I were stuck on the other side. We couldn't get out of China because we didn't have their old passports with their initial entry stamp in the passport.
Which we weren't supposed to need.
However, I always take pictures of our passports and our visa pages and our entry stamps, and I have it on every single device. We all have a folder in our devices that say travel documents, and I keep everything we're going to need for any trip in in that folder. So when they took us into the little office to try to search their system for their old passports, because now the passport numbers aren't the same and the entry stamp isn't there, I just happen to have an iPad and my cell phone, and I handed both of them to the officers. They used that information to look up their stuff, and an hour later we were out of there.
And then an hour later.
But without it, it would have taken longer. They may not have even left the country.
No? Well.
And here's Aaron on the other side.
Right.
He's in
always,
Hong Kong versus we're still in mainland.
Can always just go back, but it wasn't like we were catching a flight.
No, we were catching a bus.
See, catching that bus, there's going to be another one in the next 15 minutes.
Right.
But I mean, it's just that idea that your adventure, it's all part of the adventure.
Yeah.
Your travel is still part of that adventure,
Yep.
So you just have to take it all in and try to enjoy it all, or try to at least, I don't know, if you're a documentarian, you document it all. You're always that. A lot of people forget that part.
Yeah. Give the kids the cameras. Give them a camera. Give them their phones. Give them something. Just tell them to take pictures. Take video. Let them just document them for themselves, and then you guys can go back and watch it together. With Aaron and Keegan, because they're world schooled, when we go to a new place, we always have an education focus. So, what are we going to try? What food did you discover that you want to, you heard about or read about? What are we going to try? What are we going to do? And so, like for Thailand, it was curry. They had never had curry. And so that was something that we ate. We tried it because they wanted to. They wanted to go see the gibbons because in Thailand they have a sanctuary for gibbons. because they're endangered. So those are the types of things that we focus on, and when we're planning, those are the things that Aaron and Keegan are responsible for. Tell me about the culture. Tell me about the things I should and shouldn't do. You know, when you go to Thailand, you're not supposed to wear your shoes inside of a home or a hotel room or many offices. So those are the things that the kids would say, oh, we can't, touch a child's head, and we can't walk inside with our shoes on. And those are the things that they learn after we decide where we're going to go. That it's their job to then give us some of the cultural stuff, find the things that they want to do, and then I'll go and make it happen.
Gnome.
Well, sometimes you'll get for example, last summer when the kids were in the States and you and I were traveling and just going different places, I booked the rooms on hotels.com, and then maybe within a week or so of our trip, I would get an email from hotels.com saying, here are all of the things that you can do on your upcoming trip. Would you like to book any of them? And they had some really good deals. We went to Hong Kong and Macau, and there was an option for this card for a ferry ride and all these different amusement parks and museums and different things that we wanted to do, and we could have paid one fee and use this card to go to every single place and not have to pay for the fee when you get there. I just didn't want to be on somebody else's schedule, so I didn't do it. But if that's an option, and that's why I like hotels.com, is because they do that kind of stuff for your upcoming trip. So what else? Now, as far as moving abroad, first thing I do is book the tickets as early as I can. So if we've gotten a job, wherever it's going to be, I book the tickets the minute I find out we have the position. Because the earlier you book, the cheaper it is. That also gives you plenty of time to find a shipping company, to, if you have to book a hotel, which we haven't yet, it gives you time to then do that, plan all your stuff out, get your transportation in order to go from where you are now to the airport so that you can then leave. The shipping situation is not short. Depending on where you're coming from and where you're going to, you may have to have a special visa. You may have to already be in the country before they can ship it. It just depends. So if as soon as I find out we have the position, I buy the tickets just to give us a little time to then plan everything else. And always ship. Any more questions?
That all you got?
Yeah, have fun. Go places. I don't care if it's just for a couple of days. Just go. Do stuff. Get out.
I don't know why you're saying all that, but okay.
Because I have family members who have never been anywhere, have never done anything, and they think we're weird because I'm like, we've been here, almost 6 months. I'm ready to go someplace new because it feels too normal. It's like,
okay.
Somebody asked me yesterday, how are you liking Mexico? And I'm like, meh. It's all right. It's like the U.S. Light. I want to go someplace else.
I don't know if that's Mexico. See, that's the problem. Was we have to go. We're now getting to the point where we're settled as far as we're settled as far as I won't say we're settled as far as work, but we're settled as far as going to the job, coming home, where to buy food, where to buy things we need. We know all of that stuff now, because that's really when you move to a new place as an expat. That's always the challenge. My first thing, since we moved, is water. it's always water. It's
That's
drinking
usually like
water.
the most difficult thing to find
and get to you, because everybody has a system of either bringing the big bottles of water to you, but you don't have any of those contacts, and you don't know any of those things in that new place,
right?
And you don't have that set up, and just getting water. What did I do? I spent the first couple months in Thailand running back and forth to the store, literally just carrying water.
Like 2 months you did
just
that.
So that we could have water to drink.
And it's so hot there, and we were drinking twice our normal amount, if not more, some days.
You'd be walking with the big giant, large bottles,
10
liter bottles of water. And it's once all that stuff is set, like where to go to get food, where to go to get your water, and your way of going to work and all that kind of stuff. Once all that gets done, then you want to, okay, now let's go.
Let's explore.
Let's go find out about this place. And it's funny because the students will come to me and say, oh, well, this is this and that is that. And I look at them and say, yeah, I already knew that. I've been studying Spanish longer than you have.
Right.
I started in high school. How old are you? What year were you born? But it's important, I guess, to think about how are you going to survive the new place, like when you're going to move there, and kind of look at that critically before you ever get there. But
I would also
we gotta go.
Yeah.
Like our current situation, we've got to go out. We've seen a little bit of Mexico City, kind of the same areas.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling that there's no other areas to see, and now we need to get away from the city and go do some other stuff.
Yeah. I really want to go to some of the museums downtown, like the Ripley's one. The kids wanted to go to that, and I've never been to a Ripley's. Have you?
I think so, somewhere.
All right. Well, I want to go.
Okay.
But one of the things that I would say, if you're moving abroad, you're going to work abroad, and you're not going to work for the company that you're currently with, keep in mind the pay structure is probably not going to be the same. This is the first time we've ever been in a situation where we're paid bi-weekly since we left the States 7 years ago. In China and Thailand and many other places, you are paid monthly. So that means you are going to be in the country for at least a month before you're paid. You need to be able to live in that month and buy the things that you don't have, and or the things that you need. So have at least $1,000 or more dollars with you so that you have enough money to make it for the month. We're a family of 4, and when we first moved to China, I think we arrived with just over $2,000 in cash. And that was more than enough for us. But that's because of where we lived. So you need to look at the cost of living, talk to some of the people you're going to work with.
Talk to the expats.
And find out how much you're going to need. How much are you going to need for, water? How much are you going to need for food?
Electricity.
Yep. Internet.
It all depends on what.
Cell phone.
See, that's the other thing is, what is it? What's included in your particular job? Here, do we have anything included?
Nothing.
Like Thailand, nothing included.
Yeah.
We left Thailand.
Which our situation is unusual because from what I understand, schools are supposed to provide a stipend for housing and whatever. One of the things I'll tell you if you're just going on vacation, don't get an international calling plan. Don't do it. They are super expensive.
Just get a SIM card when you get there.
Yeah, they're super expensive, and they cost a fortune whether you use the minutes or not. You don't even have to, dial the phone one time, and you're still going to pay a ridiculous amount of money.
Get Skype.
So get Skype.
FaceTime,
whatever. I don't know.
Just use a web-based system, because why everybody's got internet. It's going to be, if you're in a touristy area, it's always going to be there.
Right.
If you're not in a touristy area and you don't have internet, well, you may not have cell phone either.
Right.
So you just paid for a plan that your phone can't even access.
But you're going to get charged through the nose.
Right.
Also, like many places, for example, like Thailand, you get off the plane and they are passing out SIM cards in the airport.
Yep.
For free, and they'll have, certain like 5 days or 7 days worth of calling time and, data on there. So
then you can recharge it if you need to.
Right, you just go to the 7-Eleven and bam, there you go.
That was Thailand.
I said Thailand. 7-Eleven was in Foshan as well, in San Shui. That's where I went to go charge our
I'm just saying,
bus cards.
Don't just look for 7-Eleven. Most convenience stores, most of the things, they're not shams. They're there for tourists,
right?
Because you're temporary.
Also, try to take the subway if you can. You're gonna save a ton of money and a ton of time if you take the subway.
Depending on where you are.
Right. Like we didn't try it in Beijing because we were new to the country. But anywhere else we went, that's how we moved around. We tried not to use taxis because they can, overcharge you, and it's not always convenient for 4 giant Americans to fit in a tiny little taxi. So try to use public transportation, buses, subways. Now they have the Go Bikes. Those things are everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. So don't rush. Take your time.
Uh-huh.
That's it. I mean,
that's all you got?
I guess. I mean, I have lots of tips and tricks, but I don't know if I think of all of them right off.
Good.
Always copy your documents. Always copy your documents. Have them digital and paper. And send them to someone that's not going with you.
There you go, people.
That's it.
The Traveling Gnome has spoken. Don't look behind the curtain. Ignore that guy behind the curtain.
Don't say things like that, because, there might be a guy behind the curtain.
What are you talking about? There's no curtain. All right, is that all you got?
Mm-hmm.
That's all you're going to tell the people?
For today.
I think it's very interesting to hear people that want to go places, but they don't want to go anywhere.
Well, my sister did that last night.
There's always that weird thing. It's like, just go somewhere.
Yeah.
And Americans are notorious for this worldwide, because Americans are known as people that don't really go. Yeah. Not like other Western culture people that go. You don't have to stop there.
You can come down the stairs, love. Yeah, I think the statistic is like,
it's okay.
Only 13% of Americans have passports, and only 2% of Americans use them.
But that's the thing. It's the usage. It's the going places. It's the
exploration.
Like everybody says, "Oh, I like your pictures," or "Oh, I like the fact that you went there." And
I wish I could have gone.
It's like, just
you can't go. Yeah, one of the girls.
And these are people that are not poor. This is not like money is stopping them.
No.
What's stopping them is them.
Yeah. Like, there's a girl in one of my groups, and she said, "Oh, I live vicariously through you. I wish we could afford this." And I said, but you just bought your husband a 72-inch TV and new gaming system and surround sound. All that money could have been used
For your trip.
For a trip. Oh no, but he really wanted that. Well, clearly you wanted him to have that.
But that's where your priorities are. I get that. But if you're,
because the 50-inch just wasn't big enough.
well, that's what I need on my desk.
Sir.
If you have enough money, then it's just about choices.
It's always about choices, no matter how much money you have.
Yeah, but money, you may never have enough. Some people just don't ever have enough money to take that trip. They don't ever have it. It's never coming. No matter how many years of saving, they'll never have enough money to take that trip. Okay. That's a reality.
I understand. I lived that reality for a very long time.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So money is a big deal. It's not just choices. It's means.
I would say one of the things that we did before we left the country, because we didn't have a lot of money, but instead of spending a lot of money at Christmas on stuff, toys and whatever, junk that then I would have to pick up and try to find a place to put. We stopped doing that when Aaron was about 4 years old, and we would buy 5 experiences. So it might be tickets to go see the Globetrotters, tickets to see motocross, go to a ballet or something. There were 5 things, and that's all we would do. And it was so much more fun for the whole family to get to go and experience this, and our gifts then weren't just one day. They went for months afterwards. Like Keegan and I went and saw the Nutcracker, and Aaron and 2 went and saw Bill Cosby, and they went to a Pistons game, and we did lots of different things. And then we could include other family members as well. Like we took Granny to her first football game and to her first ballet, and it was fun for the kids to have their great grandmother there to experience it, and it was fun for her to then be able to share in their experience and her first experience with them. So it's not about buying the stuff, it's about creating the memories. And that's, I think, when we are planning a trip, that's what we're focusing on. It's, we know we're going to create new memories, and how can we do it and stay within our budget and hit the things they want to learn and see and try, and we're going to have fun no matter what.
Well, like I said, as long as it's a new place.
Yeah, let's go.
It's all new anyway.
Yep.
It's, I guess you can't, we have an idea, like people that go to Disney World. They go to Disney World and they actually believe and think they're going to do everything in Disney World in a week. And I've been to Disney World 3 times? No, 4 times. I've been there 4 times. I'm sorry. After the 4th time, I still hadn't done everything in Disney World. It shouldn't be your goal to do and see everything. It should be your goal to go and do and see and experience some things, maybe as much as time allows, and then if you want to go back to that place. If you do, then you know what you want to go see next time that you go.
Right.
And I think if you notice that what you see is a lot of people either go to the same places, which then becomes boring, of course, or they go to the new place one time and they never plan to go back again, and the whole time saying, I wanted to go back and do this thing. Like, I missed out on doing a thing when I was there. It's like, go back.
Right.
Go back and do that thing. If
Yep.
you missed it, you wanted to see these temples and you didn't get a chance to, go see them. If you
Yep.
didn't get a chance to climb the mountain, go climb the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
You missed a waterfall. Okay, well.
But by the same token, if you know that you aren't going to be able to go back, don't overbook yourself to the point where you can't just take in and enjoy the beauty of the area, or make a spontaneous decision to go do something else. Like, our friend went to Tibet. She knew that she was only going to be able to go to Tibet once in her lifetime. So she made sure she had time to go off and have dinner at a local person's house, or, you know, go and visit a temple. But she also scheduled a tour, had a guide take her around and do all the things that she wanted to see and do. But she knew that that was going to be her only time there, because, I mean, going to Tibet is not easy.
Right.
So,
especially from outside of China.
well, she was in China, which makes it
I
even
know.
bit more difficult.
Huh?
You have to have a permit to go to Tibet from China,
Yeah, I know. But
and you
isn't
have
it
to go
harder
with a tour group.
Isn't it harder to get if you're living outside of China? Like, you're not in China already?
No, you just go to Tibet. You don't have to have that special permit.
Oh.
Because I looked into going to Tibet, and it wasn't that expensive, but it was a really long trip, and with children, there was no way.
Yeah, we got to let that go because we're not traveling with little kids anymore.
But they were little at the time.
But we're not little now. They're bigger than me.
No. They are bigger than you.
So.
And they're capable.
Ain't worried about them no more.
It's funny because
grab that big giant luggage cart. Let's go.
my one of my students said, "Mrs. Farr, what will you do for Christmas?" And I said, "I don't know if we'll do anything for Christmas." She said, "You won't travel? We're going to Acapulco." And I said, "No, because I have to send my children out of the country." "You're not gonna go with them?" And I said, "No." "But Mrs. Farr, they're children." I said, "My children are teenagers, and they've flown from China to the U.S. by themselves and back." "Oh, Mrs. Farr, how far do they have to fly?" I said, 2 hours. "Oh, it takes us longer to get to Acapulco." I was like, "I know." Not worried about them going on a 2-hour flight. The kids were like, "Oh, that's not even enough time to take a nap."
It's not.
So,
You spend more time in immigration on both sides than you do on the plane.
well, with these guys, they just scan their passport. They just scan it in the machine and off they go.
Well, I'm saying to get out.
Oh yeah.
You still got to
We
go
haven't
through
done that
immigration.
thing yet.
What thing?
We haven't left the country yet, so I don't
Nope.
even know what the process of that is.
Like every other country. Stand in a long line. Walk up to a person. Stand behind a line.
Yeah.
Give them your book.
Smile, or don't, if depending on what the sign says.
Right.
Put
They might take a picture. They might take fingerprints. They might just look at you and stamp.
Yep.
And then
Ask you to remove your glasses.
Walk on through.
Yeah.
I mean, immigration in some ways is easier than security because you don't have to unpack your shit and
Right.
take off your belt and
Take off your shoes.
possibly
and
take off your shoes and all that other kind of stuff.
That was weird when we had to do that here. Like, we had to take off our stuff. And I'm like, but why? Because we've spent so many years of not having to go through all of that. I mean, as soon as you walk into an airport in China, they take this little thing and just touch you, a little piece of paper, to see if you have any explosives. Because I don't know what that piece of paper does, but they just
reacts to the
touch you, and then they go stick it in a machine, and then they wave you through. That's the extent of the stuff we had to do at the airport. I mean, we never had to.
Well, that's the extent of the bomb part.
Yeah, but we never had to, when going through security, we never had to take off our shoes or our belt or.
Nope.
We didn't have to do that in China, Thailand, or Malaysia.
Right.
Now, Malaysia's a little weird because they pat you down at the gate. So you go through security, you check your bags, you go through security again, you get to your gate, and before you get on the plane, they pat you down again. They will watch you buy a beverage across the hallway from your gate, and they will make you either drink the entire thing before you can get on the plane or throw it away. And there's nothing around to say you can't take beverages on the plane. So every place has their own rules. Just roll with it. Don't get angry. Just take it. Go. Because, well, here's the thing: is if you get angry and you start getting frustrated, you're gonna delay everything else for the rest of your trip. You might get some crazy ass stamp in your passport, and now everywhere you go, you're stopped and searched. Just smile, roll with it, take a deep breath. It's all an adventure. Go. The more relaxed you are, the easier it is for everybody.
That's why you don't want to be rushing.
Well, Russian or rushing.
I didn't say Russian. I said Russian. You don't want to, because if you're on a really tight schedule, trust me, all it takes is a couple extra people in front of you in line to
Doing
make
some
you
dumb
miss.
shit.
Well, no, just the regular stuff to make it so that you now have missed your flight.
Right.
So just
make sure if it says be there 3 hours before your flight, get there 3.5 hours, 3:45 before your flight. Always give yourself way more time than you think you're going to need, because you'll probably use it all up. Especially because you don't know what the traffic is going to be.
Well, the other side of that is in many airports, the international side and the domestic side are not near each other.
Woo! Pudong Airport, Shanghai, Holy Mother of Pearl. It's like a 2.5 mile distance between the domestic and the international. And if you have to go from domestic to international and it's in the evening, you're screwed. You have to walk the entire thing.
Yeah, and you're not going to
And you're not going to make your flight if, say, you have 20, 30 minutes. You're not going to make it. So give yourself plenty of time. Don't book a connecting flight that is within an hour or two of landing in domestic.
Yeah, because
you just never know what you're going to have to do.
Because you've got to go through the entire process all over. You got to go through the ticker counter, the immigration and security. You got to do all of that stuff all over again on that other side.
Plus, you have to get from domestic to international.
Yeah.
So give yourself lots of time. When we left China, both times when we left China, we stayed in Beijing anywhere from 5 to 7 hours, 8 hours. That was our layover, because we knew after going from China to Thailand just on vacation that you couldn't book that close together. I made the mistake of having only 2.5 or 3 hours between our flights from domestic to international, and we landed 10 minutes before our next flight left. There was no way to make it. We couldn't even get off the plane in time and then get on the bus and because a lot of places you land and then you get on a bus and they then transport you to the actual airport.
And then you might get in there and have to get on a train.
Right. So give yourself plenty of time.
Oh, that's so funny. Okay.
That's it.
This has been the Traveling Gnome Show.
It has. I kind of like the Traveling Gnome Show. Always take snacks for the plane.
Oh, God. That's it. I'm shutting you down.
We could do that on our flight here.
Shutting you down. I'm grabbing the paper.
Get the paper. Oh.
No, God, no.
I'm going to post some information on our blog space about some really, really affordable trips to Dominican Republic.
I was just talking to my mom about that. And then I told her that, she could always, just jump over the border and go to Haiti.
Yeah, because it's right there. But we featured What If It's Amazing, the travel guru.
Yep.
And she is running some specials for January, February, April, and I want to say May and July. And it's $500 for, I want to say 15 days, 16 days. It includes an apartment, transportation to and from the airport, some tours, and I think there's another thing. But $500 for your whole family. Like our family of 4, it would be a total of $500. So I'll post all that information on our blog space so that if you'd like some more information, you have it. Hit it.
You said you were going to shout out all the businesses today.
But my laptop is downstairs.
Oh, long ways away. Okay,
And
well,
you know,
if you want to find us, which you've already found us if you're watching this, on the YouTube, Facebook, Pinterest, iTunes, or the Spotify, you can find us at The Traveling Fars. If you like the Twitter and the Instagram, you can find us at Traveling Fars. And the email, we're still shouting out businesses now for the rest of the month. Second half, we're in the second half already of our, what is it called?
NaPodPoMo.
We're in the second half now
Of our second annual.
of the NaPodPoMo. So send us in businesses that you want to shout out, or anybody that is doing something you think that they need some free pub. We're doing it for you. travelingfars@gmail.com. And Karen said that she's going to put stuff on the blog space. The blog space is the travelingfars.blueberry.net. No E's in the blueberry. I think I killed my light.
Uh-oh.
I think it's dead.
No.
My cool little light might be dead.
It's the only thing that made it look like, you know, I wasn't sunburnt or...
It's not working. So either the battery died, which I doubt because it was full when I plugged it in, or the light died because it overheated.
Uh-oh. Was it
So-
because of the paper?
I'm gonna need a new aperture light. Sorry, man. That's the way it goes. When your equipment dies, you gotta replace it.
Off to Chedraui you go.
Chedraui.
Yeah, you said you had that long light thing. Ooh, look. It's
You
a
know
light
what?
bulb.
That's exactly. I thought about that.
Yeah.
But the problem with that light was mounting. There was no way to mount the light. So I need to find a way that I could actually mount the light, maybe with zip ties or something like that.
What
But
about...
It basically, it just had holes in the back, like my soundbar does. It just had holes in the back for mounting it on a wall.
What about my thing that goes on the iPad? Is it what? Is it?
It's only that wide.
So it's
Oh,
two.
God.
Keegan.
Hello, kitty. How are you, kitty? So, yeah, we're gonna need a new something. That one at Chedraui would be all right. It would be cool if it could be mounted. It's the mounting that is the issue.
I'm sure you'll figure out something. You're pretty creative.
Well, we'll see. Gonna have to do something because
Use your ingenuity.
we need to take down our.
I don't
Our,
really want to take them down.
Oh no, we need to take down the. I took down everything in my classroom. It's time for the Halloween to go away.
The
Bye
Papel
bye.
Picado.
Go away. Bye 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 bye. See you later.
I like the Papel Picado though.
That's nice. Time to go.
Oh, I have the Christmas stuff downstairs.
Oh Lord.
I could actually decorate.
You can decorate, and it's in the stores
Everywhere you go,
everywhere you go.
which is really weird.
All right, that's it. That's all. Tomorrow we don't have to go to work, which is good.
Woohoo! And if I get all my work done, I'm gonna go back and see the Fantastic Beasts again.
Tomorrow?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I'll go by myself. I don't care. You wanna go?
No.
You could take Keegan to see the Nutcracker movie,
No.
or they want to see Venom.
No. You just named all kinds of things I don't want to go see.
But you're the daddy. You should go take them.
You take them.
No, I have to go watch the Fantastic Beasts again.
Go to both.
No,
I have no problem with y'all going. I can sit here and do other stuff.
You'd be perfectly fine.
Perfectly fine.
I told someone yesterday that all I would have to, you would be perfectly fine by yourself for the rest of your life if I just put you in a room with your computer and the internet and access to food and a bathroom. You wouldn't ever need.
Isn't everybody?
But you wouldn't ever need to talk to anybody ever again. You'd be fine by yourself.
What are you talking about? You talk to people all the time on the internet.
That's what I told her.
You do.
I know.
I mean, we just gave everybody all these ways to talk to us
I know.
on the paper.
You need the paper.
No, I need to laminate the paper. Then it won't fall apart. Packing tape.
No.
All right.
Aaron
Say goodbye
has
to the
stuff.
people.
Bye, people.
Peace.
Aaron has his stuff downstairs. You can do it.